Hi, Daddy. What you doing?
You doing the regatta shuffle right now? Oh, a little scullin'. Let's scoop it. Some cold style and take. Let's go.
Yo, this is Dice United. Welcome to episode 79 of the Sup'm Show. The man Kent, Dr. Kent Bazard is in the building. What's up, bro?
Dude, you got a
Yo,
whole intro now, man. Like we stars now.
we
What's
gotta
up,
keep
Bahamas?
moving
This
up.
is your boy, Dr. Kent Bizarre.
Yeah, so jumping right into it, my question is, when prison time is involved, should liars have to go to jail? When money is involved, should thieves have to pay the money back plus interest or go to jail? These lying guards gotta stop. Now, let me show you where we're coming from. First off, Dr. Bazard wanted to introduce this whole issue with two women. Parents, parents, right?
Yep, parents, mothers.
They are mothers. They are people that little tiny people look up to and are learning from. Come to our little country, our amazing little country that's world renowned, and says that they were raped by Bahamian men who were employed at the place where they were vacationing. Now, that is something that you should take very seriously. That
Indeed.
should, if a female comes to you and says that, hey, something happened, some action need to take place immediately.
Yes.
And I believe that's exactly what happened. But
But
as I understand the story, and maybe you've been deeper into the story, Doc, but as I understand, there are some things that they did not want to happen. And I get it again. Sometimes people are so traumatized that they may not want to relive the experience and talk about or have to do these grape kits to get evidence to be able to, charge and arrest and convict these people that have offended them in such a grotesque way. They may not want to go through that.
right.
Fine. But when you tell a story that you want others to believe is true, and I don't want to give any tips here, but the first thing you need to do is make sure no cameras are out.
Oh boy. And there are cameras everywhere. You know, it's first of all, I 100% agree with you, Dyson. Whenever, as the protectors, and I take my role as a protector very seriously, and I know you do as well. I
Absolutely.
mean, I know there's some situations you've been in where you've had to be the protector of your family, so I understand.
Yes.
It's every man's nightmare to hear that she had an experience like that, that
Mm-hmm.
his woman had a experience like that under his protection. That's a
Yes.
nightmare for any man, and I challenge anybody to ask any man if that's not a nightmare. That's a nightmare.
Hard to live after that.
It's hard to live. It's really hard to live with yourself after that,
Mm-hmm.
and you feel like a totally useless figure of a male.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much, your number one job is to protect them, and if you can't do that, then geez, I mean that don't cost you no money. That's that don't cost you any money to protect them. You know, you
Yeah.
can do that. You can do that without any money or any resources. You don't have to be a
Yeah.
billionaire. So anyway, one of your primary functions and one of our instinctive functions is to protect. And when we fail at that, that goes deep. So I agree with you. Yes, whenever, and this is what happens because we talked about this before in a kind of different scenario, but it's really the same story.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever a female cries that alarm in our community, it is acted upon immediately and often unjust. When I say unjustly, meaning due process is often saved for later.
Plenty could have come before
Yeah,
court date.
plenty
Plenty.
cut it. Plenty cut it before you get the proof of what
Mm-hmm.
actually happened. All
Oh
you have to
yeah.
do is say it. All you have to do is tell the story. All you have to do is say something. Say that person did this, and the police come after you. And you
Yeah.
know what? I think that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
But you
Mm-hmm.
see, I'm actually okay with that.
Mm-hmm.
I, I really
I
am.
could get down with that.
I really am okay with that. But the problem is
Don't beat
when
them
you
to
see,
death though. Don't beat them to death
yeah, don't beat them to death because you might,
until you find out. Well, not period, but
yeah,
for the sake of this point, at least know the truth before you go any
all out.
further. Yeah, all out.
Because I always tell my dad told me if I go to jail, he ain't coming for me.
My dad said the same thing.
And if you go to jail on a Friday, you luck buck because you know ain't nothing happening until Monday. So you
Nothing
in for
happening.
the weekend, bro.
Yes.
So I mean, but guess what? Like I said, when it comes to protecting women, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Really, the problem comes in with situations like these where we have some women, very few, who take advantage of not just a person's reaction or a group's reaction, but the whole
The
society's
fact that there's
reaction.
normally not no real checks.
Right.
They don't have to produce no checks
And
and balances. Right.
these persons being foreigners probably believe that they could get away with um, saying certain things or accusing a country like ours of certain things.
Evidence
Um,
actually points to them being professionals at this.
oh, really?
That this is something that they do.
Well, our visitors often think that they're coming to. When they say we are technically a third world nation, but we're not exactly a poor nation, if I could say that.
Correct.
We're not
Yes, you
exactly a
can.
poor. We're not living in poverty. We are a third world nation, but we're not living in poverty per se.
We live in heat because the electricity company is shut off every now and again.
Yeah, but I mean, we have electricity. The
But we
countries
have
that live in poverty,
electricity.
countries that live in poverty don't have
Have none.
electricity like that.
Period. Correct.
You know what I mean?
Correct.
So I mean, thank God for BPL when it's working. But you have persons who think that they can take advantage of whatever system that they believe is inept and not first worlds. So they think that they can get away with certain things. I'm sure they never dreamed in their last days that they would be caught on camera. They never thought that.
They didn't think we had Wi-Fi.
No,
They
they didn't think that Baymans used the internet as much hashtag CYC you see online. They
didn't
must have
know.
done think they didn't know Baymans have their own TikTok. They didn't know, but women like those, persons like those, it could be anybody. Um, really, really muddy up the scenario for persons that actually need help, for real victims.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
Of course. The boy who
you're gonna
cried
make it.
wolf.
You're not gonna help the cause. You're actually hurting the cause. What you need to do is just leave it alone. Leave it just how it is right now. Whenever a call is made that there's a man abusing a woman, at least in this country, the woman gets the benefit of the doubt. Period. First. But if you keep doing this type of stuff, you're not helping the cause. You're hurting the cause. You're not helping it. You're gonna make it
That
worse.
that scenario is giving me a lot of Karen energy too. I mean, it was giving me
Oh yeah.
some serious Karen energy because I didn't want to get into this too early in the show, but race plays a factor in these type situations. You
Race,
don't
race, race always play. I mean, not. I mean, look. Unfortunately, um, the Caribbean men are known for their lovemaking. I'm sorry, guys.
they
To
always
our, to our,
gyrating. Well,
to our
we,
other,
not they.
to our
We too.
waitress is moved different. Apologies to our other black brothers out there.
Yeah.
But Caribbean men just have it, and Bahamian men also have it, and this is known. So
So
everybody who reviewed their case, non-Bahamians, said the same thing. These women came down here. First of all, they were on social media having a blast. They said they weren't hardly drinking like that.
Right.
So you know, you want to break down the story?
Yeah, I mean, we could tag team on it because
Let's break down the story. So here's the story as reported by, or as refuted. Well, first reported by the women. The report was that their drinks were spiked by these workers.
there had to be something in their drinks
They
because
said the drinks
they only had 1 or 2 drinks, and they
they only
were
had one or two, and they were very strong. They said they never tasted anything like that before.
yeah.
That could be true. Um, that could be true.
That could be true.
But that don't mean it's spiked. That's just our regular alcohol.
Yeah, yeah.
That's not
That's just how
that
we
doesn't
drink.
mean it's just how we drink.
Yes,
So
they pour all the drinks like that. So you weren't
yeah,
special.
right. There's nothing new about that. That's why people,
Nothing between your legs was glowing that made them say, "I want to put something extra in your drink."
correct.
Yeah.
Because we're trying to get rid of alcohol around here anyway. So that's one thing. Second thing is they said so these guys, I guess, started talking to them and invited them or coerced them against their will to go into some secluded area of the resort where they were. What's the term they use now? They were assayed. You got to say assay, right?
Yeah. Okay.
They were
Right.
assayed, and then when they reported it to the police, they said the police didn't believe them.
Bahamian police didn't believe them. That
Bahamian
police take that opportunity to make very good friends with women.
Bro, I cannot believe that. Bahamian men don't believe. Bahamian police didn't believe.
Bahamian police didn't believe you?
Nah, bro.
Nah.
I don't believe that. So they said
Nah.
they didn't believe them. They didn't. They said they gave them tissue to wipe themselves with. They didn't get a rape kit. Sorry, a grape kit.
Right.
They gave them tissue to wipe with. They said they forced them. This is what the girl said. She said they forced us to take a shower. That's what she said. Okay, she's obviously watched too much movies. She watched too much Law and Order SVU. Okay.
Yeah. She had the whole story put together quite
Yeah,
nicely.
she said they forced us to take a shower. Where exactly?
Yeah.
But anyway, fine. They forced you to take a shower, and then she said they didn't help them to get back to the boat or something like that. Something with the boat.
Yeah.
That was their report.
Right.
Now, not only did the medical services, the police refute this report, the cruise line also said,
nah,
no, you're lying.
Nah. That's not how that gone. We actually had. They actually signed something.
It's called what do you call it again? Oh my God.
Some type of waiver,
AMA.
right?
It's called an AMA.
AMA.
An AMA form against medical advice. It's called an AMA. We don't hand those out. You know what I mean? An AMA. Let me show you what an AMA comes up. An AMA comes up in the discussion between a medical professional and a patient when the patient refuses care. That's the only way.
Police don't have that.
No, police don't have those. They have them.
They had to have been talking to a medical person and had to have refused.
They had to refuse
the suggested course.
Right.
Of care and say, oh,
that's
correct. What they signed. They signed the AMAs.
That's what they signed. Against medical advice. I am leaving against medical advice. The medical advice is not for you to leave. The medical advice is for you to stay and receive care. You said no.
But then they go and say they wasn't afforded the opportunity to do these things. Okay, so cool. They lie.
So right? and I believe, I'm not sure it was because this was on that island, right?
Yeah. Well, we don't have to get into that into that deep in the details. But they was vacationing.
They was vacationing.
And they said two employees.
It wasn't a major healthcare facility. These were the medical persons in a smaller facility at that point.
Right.
So anyway, so
they also refused it on the ship.
They also refused it on the ship. And
Correct.
here's where it gets very, what people don't understand. The officials, the Bahamian officials, boarded the ship. Now, you got to stop there. You can't just board a cruise ship. Okay,
Mm,
you can't just board a cruise ship. A cruise ship
no.
is essentially the territory, like the land where it
Right.
came from. It is not its own
Correct.
country. So if you
Right.
board a cruise ship that launched from United States, when you step on a cruise ship, you're in the United States.
You need your passport and your visa.
Yes. So
Okay.
what I'm saying is, for them to board the ship, they had to really pull some drills, pull some cards, and call some
Protocol.
people and say this is an emergency. So they
Correct.
boarded the ship, and the ship have to allow them on, of course, because the ship of their security. They can refuse them. The
Yes.
ship allowed them. They say, "Yeah, y'all need to come on board. Come." And they all went to these ladies and said, "Hey, you know what? We really think you guys need to do this." And they still refuse.
Let's fast forward a little bit, Doc, because we have these two dishonest people that we're talking about. But how not only did it shine, could it possibly have damaged the reputation of the country? As big as the country, right? Cool. The Bahamas have a good brand. We probably could take that blow. But there are two hard-working gentlemen who got up out of their beds, put on their uniforms, went to work, and decided to give them service as tourists should be served, to ensure that they have a good time, that they are happy, that they are giggly, that they are whatever it is, enjoying themselves. That's
Yep.
that's that's what their goal was, right? Now, if they hot boys, so be it. But we find out now that the truth is what they said happened to them, in fact, did not happen because the cameras show where they were at all point in times when they said they wasn't there.
Right.
They said that they were basically kidnapped
Yep.
or forced to go a place. The cameras say show none of that, right?
Right.
So now we have these two gentlemen, and here's what happens to the gentlemen now. They both get fired. They were both nearly prosecuted, of course, right? They both had to defend their innocence. They both go through all type of emotional trauma. You understand what I'm saying? And what is the recourse? What is the fairness? How does life now balance itself out for these gentlemen? How do they get their lives back to the way it was? Because they get fired because they say that, okay, they still didn't follow proper protocol. They didn't do what the women said that they did. But there were there, and this is how you see that the Bahamas is an astute vacation spot for all travelers. There is protocol in place to ensure that no one is even able to present these types of accusations against this company's employees. And they said that those men, they broke protocol, being probably overly friendly, and
Yeah.
breaking protocol could be simply, the little short measures that you're supposed to go and be guided by, so the company can make the most profit off every bottle. The breaking protocol could have been two shots instead of one.
Well, first of all, I think we need. I think it's good that you're reminding everybody that we're not holding these guys blameless. We're just saying start on them yet.
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, we
They
ain't
they
started.
they're absolutely responsible for what they did.
Yeah, they
They
break
don't deserve.
protocol.
They don't deserve to be branded as rapists, or they don't deserve to be in prison. They probably deserve to lose their job. And I think the number one reason, which is what you're alluding to, is not only were they on company grounds, they were in uniform. Didn't they still have their uniforms on?
Yes, they was at
So
work.
they were at work.
Right.
So I mean, you know, as our boy JP always says, they didn't exercise sufficient penis control, and that dude down there can get you in a lot of trouble. And in this case, just for a little bit of tail, you lost your job.
You lost your job.
You lost your job. Even if they didn't report you, if that just if only the camera stuff is found and nothing else came out of this, you still would have
Still's
lost your
getting
job.
fired. You
You
still
still was
lose your
getting
job.
fired.
And I think what men need to understand at whatever level of employment you're at, right? Especially if it's not your company. You in uniform on work time represent the establishment that employs you.
Yes.
Them ladies, they wasn't after them dudes. They don't give a crap about them.
Nope.
When they sue, they was gonna sue the company.
Yep.
Or they may go after flipping country
Yep.
and sue the state. You understand what I'm saying? So I guess that's reason for people, employees, to be flippant about it. Oh, but you
But
will go to jail.
it's some very interesting points in the story though, because obviously we don't have the whole story.
Right, right. We
So
wasn't.
some very interesting points were that one, the cruise company said these guests went off on their own excursion,
Mm,
right?
hmm.
They went off on their own excursion and did whatever they wanted to do. When they posted those videos when they were at a particular beach and they were in the water with the alcohol that they say they weren't drinking.
Right,
Uh,
right.
do they think we not have the internet in the Bahamas? Do they really think that? They think we don't have the internet in the Bahamas?
Wi-Fi unless you got
No, no wife, no
the
internet in the Bahamas. All right.
two kids on the treadmill running to power the Wi-Fi system and
I mean, you're 50 miles from Miami, bro. Like, where do you think you are? Where do you think you are? Where do you think you are, for real? How far away from how far away from your country you think you are? Anyway, so anyhow, so they were on the beach, they were in the water, they were doing the thing. Oh, this is bad. Oh, we're hammered. We're this, we're that. I'm like, wow. They actually posted this on social media. How could you? Anyway, whatever. Then the next suspicious thing was after they signed the AMA form at the healthcare facility, they left in a private vehicle. You missed that. They left in a private vehicle,
hmm.
not taxi, not bus. They left in a private vehicle.
Well, that's suspicious.
That's quite suspicious. So obviously they've been talking or friends or they were cool. There might have been even more fellas.
Right.
There might have been other fellas who they were talking to. And they say, come
Right.
pick us up.
Wow. The
Okay. So
plot thickens.
the plot quite thickens. So I mean, you know, we can break this down a million ways at all. Last suspicious thing. I have never in my life seen an SA victim start a GoFundMe page. I've never seen that, and that's some very odd behavior. You could afford a big vacation to the Bahamas, and you can't afford some pills. You need to
Yeah.
raise $10,000 for medication. Which medication is this for $10,000 that you need?
um
I'm a doctor now. I'm not saying there's not medications that cost $10,000, but not for
there,
what you went through.
is there a drug that stops stupidity from becoming
If it's out there,
inflamed?
the pill might cost $10,000 if it's out there.
Yeah, or like an inflamed case of stupidity that
And
you know.
who even stupider are the people who are trying to help them raise the money. You're even
Mm.
stupider. I'm sorry, all of you are stupid. If you think it costs $10,000,
Yeah, but see, that's again, you see, you talk about the damage that crying wolf does, and you have people that listen to this story, don't take the time to educate themselves on the truth, or take themselves to the truth, or even put any thought into it to say, okay, these dots don't connect, and they go and they believe this, and then they invest their they commit themselves to this idea and this ideal presented by the liars, and you end up promoting, as even if it becomes found out that these ladies are, well, it was found out that they were not telling the truth, you now give a template as to what not to do when you're trying to lie to get away with some type of vacation scam.
True.
And not only that, now you put all of the other women that go to the Bahamas or any other destination to have a good time, and they have a good time because women in general get, well, in the Bahamas, we treat tourists very well, men and women. But women who travel in alone or as a pair or in a group, Bahamians will take care of them. The women Bahamians and the male Bahamians will
Mm,
look out for them and do extra things and go out over and beyond, right, for them. But
yeah.
when y'all need to grab these Karens and put them in their place because they could cost y'all when y'all now come to vacation. I'm talking to people who aspire to come, who save up a lot of money to come to Bahamas because it's one of the number one top destinations in the country, but it's also one of the most expensive destinations in the world, right? When you save up your money, you come to the Bahamas and you need to get this extra treatment, special treatment. Nobody's going to want to give it to you because we now the hospitality agents will be suspicious right
Right.
off the bat.
Right.
So on both sides it works against, the progression and the mature the positive maturity of the vacation experience.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
Well, unfortunately, they're not the first, and they probably won't. They're not going to be the last. They're not going to be the
true,
last.
true. And speaking about that, um you we also watched the video talking about the Brian Banks story.
Brian Banks.
And here we have again, and I could take this way into it, right? This young man, um, about to graduate high school, I believe, has this young lady. There's a movie, it's a Netflix movie called The Brian Banks Story. I believe it's Netflix. This young lady likes him and says, "Hey, come cut up with me. Let's go have our first kiss. Let's go down in the hallway where nobody could find us. Let's sneak past the classrooms. Let's do whatever." They go down. He follows this girl. He has tons of promise because he's a destined to be a professional NFL player. He ends up um, kissing this girl in the back of the school somewhere. He gets spooked and nervous and be like, you know what? Nah, it ain't that serious. I out. And she like, you out? Okay, that's weird. Okay, fine. The next thing he know, the police is kicking down his door, arresting him for grape. Just like that.
Just like that.
He spends what, 4 or 5 years? A few
Yep.
years in prison.
Yeah.
The young lady that accused him is awarded $1.5 million,
Mm-hmm.
I think, from the school board. Then, when he gets out on parole, he risks breaking parole to get evidence that what this lady said happened did not happen. And he actually gets her to confess on camera, hidden camera, that he never did anything that what she said he did. And she confessed that she's not going to say it publicly because she already spent $1.5 million and she don't have it to give back. You see what I'm saying? So now here's what I want people to wrap their minds around. If it were you, what would be going through your head after spending 5 years in prison and then having the person that put you there say, yeah, but I can't really tell anybody that's what I did because I didn't live it up the past 5 years. I didn't blow $1.5 million. I mean, I can't study you at all, bro. I
Let's not
mean,
forget he was already signed
yes.
to go to
I
college. He was a shoe-in for the NFL. The young man had a promising future. And it's hard to say that he was thinking he was not exercising penis control because he kind of did.
He did.
It was late, but he did to
He
some degree.
did. And he's a child. He was a
And
kid. He was a
he's a kid.
So
You
so
did.
exercising penis control at that age, that's bravo. Like he went above and beyond
Yep.
the natural call of a man. So okay, but fine. Here we are now, where the entire system seems against exonerating this young man from what he's being accused of, right? But he does get off. He does get exonerated. He does get his he does win the case by going back to court and proving that this young lady was 5 years after 5 years of imprisonment later, right?
Yep.
And what happens to the young lady then cost him all his goals and dreams, where he couldn't even get a job because he has a record, right?
Right.
But this is before, when he was just on parole, before he was exonerated, right? Can't go out on any dates because he have to explain that he went to prison and then try to get the person to believe that he was falsely accused of rape. And any woman is going to be like,
Dude, even the man could be like, bro.
yeah,
You
but
know what I mean?
man would be like, but I should punch you in your face, but what you mean, but you do that, but you know how you say it? So it's like, where does the man go? And then the slap, the kick in the face, and I want to take this all the way, y'all. Nothing happens to her.
Nothing. She'd have to pay no money back.
She don't have to give the money back.
Nothing.
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 So, you say, yeah, man, gotta get over it. Now, here's the other side of it. I believe that we said this before. There is a former president of the greatest country in the world that boasted about grabbing women by their private parts, right? On greeting them, on meeting them.
Yeah.
Right? Now, if that ain't SA, then I don't know what is. But it shows that, again, when it comes to money and race, that some people can get away literally with anything. And it makes the women now that are disadvantaged, because you had some women that have to give up a lot, especially in the entertainment industry, that have to give up a lot of things they don't want to give up in order to get ahead. Now, it's still choice. It's still choice. They got this whole thing now with Puff Daddy Combs
Hey,
saying,
man. I was about to say, men too.
you understand what I'm saying? Like,
Man have to give up some things they didn't want to give up also
you,
to get what they want to get.
you feel me? So it, but when you tell a lie, it makes, or even on the other side, when you hide the truth, when you are afraid to confront the injustice. There's a saying that says, evil exists in the world not because of evildoers, but because of those that know evil and do nothing.
So I like that point, right? I like that point. I like that point, right? If you know evil and do nothing, like I like that point. However, I want to bring in a previous show we had. A previous show where we discussed the gentleman who's in jail right now here in the Bahamas
Okay.
because it was he was lied to by allegedly he was lied to. He was showed false ID by a young woman he met in a nightclub, and he took her home that very same night. Had relations with the girl, had relations with her afterward, and then was found guilty of sexual actions with a minor. Now he's in jail, and she's still out here in the club. So, and I said this publicly. I said, this is not a person. This is not a person who went out looking for an underage girl. he actually, I wouldn't, I've never asked a woman to see her ID. Have you ever done that?
No, I've never
I've
asked a
never,
woman to see
I've
her ID.
never done that. I've always just prayed that I was correct. But you know, it's a guessing game. It's a guessing game most of the time. A girl could tell you whatever age. She can make herself look as old as she wants to look
Yeah,
and be 12, 13 years old.
yeah,
Right? Um, Language isn't a thing anymore. It's just so there are girls who are 14 and 15 years old who act like they're 20, 21, 22.
yeah,
This is true. So,
very.
and a lot of these girls are indeed promiscuous and sexually active.
Yeah.
But in that particular case, where the guy is a business owner, he's in jail or he's awaiting his trial, and now the girl is still out here scot free, still probably doing the same thing she was doing.
Hmm.
I doubt she changed her life and came to Christ. I'm pretty sure she's still in the club doing whatever she was doing when she met the young man
No,
or
man, she said.
the older gentleman. So what I'm saying is, if there's no accountability and no repercussion
Hmm.
in scenarios like that, and I believe there should be, I believe it should be written in legislature. In all three of these cases, we see where, and I don't know if it just happened to be that it's female. And I know it sounds contradictory because in the beginning we said we believe that there should be sudden and swift action if a woman says that she's assaulted.
Hmm.
And I still stand by that. It sounds
Hmm.
like we're contradicting
Yeah,
ourselves,
yeah.
but
But don't go all out. That's all I
what
said.
we're expecting is for those cases to be real. That's what
Yes.
we're expecting. We're
Yeah.
expecting for those cases to be real.
Yeah.
On the same vein, what should also happen is that in these three cases we presented, these women who abuse the system, there needs to be some type of repercussion as well. There needs
Yeah.
to be jail time. The lady with the 1.5 million, she needs to be sued for that 1.5 million. They need to get that money back.
Yeah.
Like something needs to happen.
Yeah. Um, the thing is though, and this is, you said the 3 points. This might be a fourth point where there's no consideration given or no recourse, no justice given to the offended, when it comes to women who lie and say that a child belongs to a person that the child does not belong to and collects child support for 18 years, like Kanye West said, the great Kanye West. 18 years. 18 years. Come to find out that the kid wasn't his. What? And nothing happens.
That's enough to make you murder somebody, man. Like that's enough to drive you insane.
And what you said is so serious, Doc, because the humanity tells that person that he cannot go out and murder anyone, right? The gaslight says to him that, well, I'm still a big man because I took care of a child, which is good, which is good. Of course, if the child couldn't have a sensible mother, at the very least, thank God he had a sensible man, or he or she had a sensible man as a guardian, as a right. But the fact that nothing happens, for me, it encourages repetition in that injustice.
Absolutely.
It says, hey, I could go out and Juan would say this, I could go out and screw up all I want and make money from it. That's wrong. That is so wrong. And I think, oh, the point I was making, what you saying, that is enough to go out and well, I won't repeat it because I don't want to put that in anyone's psyche. But the fact that you know that you can't do it does something to you internally.
Yeah.
It turns you into a different type of person. And it's not the type of person that is that will take mankind on this journey to a peaceful civilization. It interrupts your inner being and makes you toxic. And then that negative energy adds to the impurities that exist in the world. And that it happens all the time. Now, let's dig up some of these dudes. Let's dig up some of these pastors. Let's dig up some of these fathers who SA their daughters, their nieces, their whoever they can get their hands on. Let's dig up these male teachers that take advantage of their female students. All of y'all need to get that swift justice that we was talking about earlier in the show.
Yep.
Swift justice givers don't go all out and tell you know the truth. But like, who used to call Big Jew, the police officer? That's what his name is.
Big Jew.
They say Big Jew had a hand, but this big, and he used to go around slapping you.
I get slapping Big Jew.
What? Dog diggity. See? They don't, that changed your life, right?
Changed my life. I wasn't even doing nothing, man.
That's it. You got some swift justice.
I wasn't even doing nothing.
You got some swift justice.
I wasn't even doing nothing. We was moving through. Me and my two cousins. And these dudes around us start jumping up and down saying, "Gun hawks. Gun hawks." So you better jump and say what they're saying.
Yeah, you gotta scream again.
So you
have to scream again.
My cousin was like, "Hey, we going through these." I was like, "We have to go." He's like, "Yeah, man, we going through them. Let's go." We going through them. They stopped. They stopped.
They saw him.
They stopped, and I kept going. Man, I just turned around to this right hand. I turned around to this right hand.
Woo!
Boy. I kept bouncing though. I just shut them out. I was like,
yeah, you ain't doing no more.
But I mean, look, to some degree, that stuff is necessary.
Yeah.
You know why it's necessary? Because like my brother Ward says, I know we like to talk. We may be, what's the word? I'm trying to put this. I'm not going to quote him because I'm obviously going to say it wrong. But even though we're on the same level, we're not equal. If that makes sense.
Correct.
So the way you need to deal. The reason why we're not equal is the same example I just gave you. You can't deal with young men, the same way you deal with young women.
No.
You can't deal with them the same.
No.
And there's nothing wrong with that. We're different. There's nothing wrong with that. We need to celebrate our differences and come together and make it work. That's what's supposed to happen.
That's what's supposed to happen.
So they're trying to make everything the same, and that's not the way it's supposed to be. So, for example, that slap to the face, I would say is almost justified. Because these guys jumping up and down, I think they could call out some gang name. The same gangs who they're now warning people about coming to the Bahamas about. Those same gangs. That's who he was dealing with.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? That's who he's trying to show that y'all are the authority. I am the authority. That's the police officer. I am the authority, not you. Correct. So y'all need to be quiet. You understand what I'm saying? So if you so the only thing that works in that situation, what works best in that situation, in my opinion, for young men, it's a good slap to the face. That works.
Yeah.
That works. Now, if you're gonna sit down and talk about feelings with them, say, you know why you shouldn't be shouting out gun hawks. You shouldn't be. It's very offensive to certain people, and certain people may be bothered by it.
Yeah.
That's not gonna work.
Yeah.
So you have to deal with us. You have to deal with us a little different. We have testosterone. It makes us act different. It literally makes us act different.
Yeah.
Right? When they have animals in captivity, they give them testosterone blockers. The males, the bulls, they give them testosterone blockers.
Yeah.
Because they would lose their mind and break the place up. That's why they seem so docile when you see them in the zoo. That's why these animals, the males especially, are so docile and calm. Because they would raise hell. Because they're not supposed to be in a cage.
Correct.
Right? So anyway, what I'm saying is you got to deal with us differently. So if you're going to deal with the men who commit these crimes by swift action, putting them in jail, great. I'm actually for that. I'm all for that. Once they're proven guilty, beyond a shadow of a doubt in the court of law, justice. Go right ahead. Any justice you want.
Yeah.
Right? However, there has to be a flip side of that. There has to be repercussions for those who take advantage of the system, take advantage of these men who are found to be trying to execute a fraud on the system by lying. There absolutely has to be some repercussion. It don't have to be jail time, but there has to be something. There can't be nothing. There can't be nothing. That's very disheartening, and it doesn't encourage other men to say, you know what, let me treat women better. That doesn't encourage men to do that.
Right.
That encourages men to say, you know what, screw it. I'm gonna do what I want to do. I'm gonna be how I want to be. Screw it. Doesn't matter. Screw it.
Yep.
You understand what I mean? The guy who's in prison right now in Chicago for not paying child support for his child, for a child that he found out wasn't his. The court knows it's not his child. He proved it's not his child. Yet this court still ordered him to pay child support, and he refused.
Yeah, I going to jail.
Now he's in jail. Now that's crazy.
That's wrong. That is
crazy.
Wrong.
That is absolutely crazy. So I think it's best we try to close out by saying how best we advise these young men.
But I ain't juicing no more. Period.
Well,
I ain't juicing no more.
That's a little extreme.
No, but listen, if you juice, you risk every time you juice, you risk losing everything, and it seems almost regardless. I mean, you could only hope that you have partnered, married a good woman, because Kim Kardashian being married a couple of times. You understand? And just being married to a person doesn't make you or the other person good. Plenty married people, married men with their wives are raising children that they only believe, only in their imagination, only in the woman's imagination are the fathers, the actual biological father of these children. But let's go back to the beginning. The ladies that lied and said that they were SA'd while vacationing in the Bahamas. The only way we can be sure we don't get caught in them type situations is to leave them alone. When I worked at the resort and it was a couples resort, let me tell you, I know plenty people from certain departments stay firing people.
Yeah.
Not because they was chasing these married women, or married men for that matter, but because these people come to the Bahamas looking for Bahamian wine.
Yep.
And I ain't talking about sea grape wine. I ain't talking about no sea grapes or no cocoa plum wine. I talking about the Bahamian strong wine. Yep. And they come looking for it, regardless of what type of relationships they in. And when they could either come with intentions of looking for money, or they could come and become weak during the experience and all of the bliss of being in Paradise, right? And they watch the movies where, because Bayman's got some dudes who's come out of Empire Fitness Gym, all buff and bulky with their muscles bulging all over the place, strapping, tall, dark, handsome Bayman running down the beach, you know,
They showing
and
off.
they get a little hot and they gotta find themselves down and cool off and they end up getting themselves involved in this person. They can lie and say they ain't there with nobody when they there on their honeymoon. I've seen it happen, bro. You on
Wow.
your honeymoon and you lie and say you ain't there with nobody. You end up catching a 1-2 rounds with the person, and then you get in your feelings saying, "Oh, I feel so guilty. I am going to scream grape." And then you was talking about in the group chat about there being a law now where you could retroactively scream grape,
Yeah, man. Isn't that crazy?
bro.
I think they said up to 2 or 3 weeks after the incident, you can withdraw consent. So
The man can
even
do it
if
too.
now
Now
I don't know. But when it comes to
I
consent,
I
when it
bet
comes to
not.
consent in as far as from what I can tell, the wording, consent as far as that is concerned for sexual activity is goes one direction. We've always said this that women hold the power in that in this women hold the key. We say
And that's why
so.
we got to talk to the men.
So the consent is all about them. But again, so she can give you consent. You can perform the duty, and then she can withdraw the
2 weeks
consent.
later, she'd be like, "Nah, you
No,
know,
she can withdraw the consent
yeah,
and
that's what I said."
and,
2 weeks
put you
later,
in trouble.
she could be like, you know what can end up happening? A week later, she could say, "Come and do what you did before again." And if you dare say no, she could say, "All right, Dad, you ain't coming. You ain't coming. You sure you ain't coming? Watch for you. watch for you."
I think that's absurd. I mean, there shouldn't be so much. And this may be another show, but there shouldn't be so much involvement with the law and relationships because it's like you gotta see the girl's ID. Like you have to look for an official ID. You need your black light with you in the club so you can shine on it to make sure it's a real ID. You gotta, I mean, like
I
what you
ain't
gotta do?
messing.
You gotta have a sign. You gotta have a sign. Pre.
I got a tip. Don't mess with nobody who you don't know, period. At least know someone that knows them. And that's for many reasons.
I think the
For
focus
many
should be.
reasons.
I agree. We need to teach many to exercise better self control. That's the first thing. Number one,
Exactly.
I agree with that.
Hmm.
Those young men, for example, needed better self control. Period.
Yeah.
Wrong decision, bad idea.
Yeah.
We just as the women need to make better choices, so do we.
Yeah.
We need to make better choices about who we decide to plant our seed in,
Yeah.
because these dudes be planting their seed all over the place,
Yeah.
and you got to realize that that's somebody who in your life forever,
Yeah.
and a lot of them ain't worth it. You know what I mean? It used to be a privilege to what we used to say to skin somebody. That used to be a privilege.
Boy.
That was like a step up in the relationship. When you decide to skin somebody, like that's like a step up in the
I
relationship. Like
I ain't
you're
juicing no more,
serious about it.
period.
But that don't exist no more. Everybody just skinning now. From the first night, I just met you tonight, and we skinning. You know,
I ain't
it,
juicing no more.
we
I
got
unless it's
we have
juicing for
we have
life, like the like health drinks
yeah.
which all is made by Empire Fitness. The smoothies, I'll smoothie, but I ain't juicing.
We've got to you juicing, bro. We've got to do better, and we got to encourage our young men to make better decisions
Yeah.
to avoid these type of situations, because the law is still not on your side. The law isn't on your side.
Yeah.
Um, you're definitely. You should ask if there should be before you live with someone. Maybe you should ask if they would be a good parent to your potential child. Boy, I don't know. It's more than a question, though. You can't just ask that because everybody can say yes.
Right.
We said this before, Dyson. There should be an evaluation process. Because everybody's
Yeah.
going to say yes.
Yeah.
Everybody's going to say yes. Few people are
Yeah.
going to say no.
Yeah.
Everybody's going to say yes. But
Yeah.
when you the point of dating and talking to somebody and getting to know somebody is evaluating where this person can be in my life. Are they going to be somebody who I meet and forget, or this is going to be
Yeah, I feel the
somebody
keywords.
I keep around? Ask question to yourself. Oh hell yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely,
Yeah. I feel it there.
absolutely,
I feel it.
absolutely.
And I can tell no lie. I can tell no lie. That goes back to point number one. I guess it's all about point number one. Penis control.
Penis control.
Because answering some of these questions be very, very difficult once you're in a debate with your boy down there. When it becomes a debate, you'd be like, yeah, I think so, you know.
You can win most. You can win a lot of the time. You can win a lot of the time. You know what I mean? You have to have a go-to thought. I used to have a go-to thought. You have a go-to thought to shut everything down. I had a go-to thought, right? So whenever I want to shut everything down, I had a go-to thought. Whenever I want to think about why I shouldn't do something, I think a few steps ahead as to what the repercussion could be, the absolute worst case scenario, and that usually shut it down for me.
Yeah.
You know, but it takes practice, and you got to be serious about it. Like first of all, you have to value yourself,
Yeah.
and it sounds, I don't know, it almost sounds feminine.
Yeah.
From
I get
man
you.
to say that he needs to value himself. It almost sounds feminine to say that we should be more selective at who we have sex with. It sounds feminine because that's what we expect women to do.
Yeah.
And we it shouldn't matter for us. We should just go out there and try to get as much women as we can. But the truth is, the absolute truth is, and this is my
Bad
me
idea.
saying this in my old age, the absolute truth is we absolutely need to be more selective, especially if you're gonna skin, bro, with who you're going to lay down with. You need to be very selective at who you're going to spend most of your time with, who you're going to give your attention to. You got to you got to screen. You just
Yeah.
got to screen.
And I didn't say this before, but the Sup'm Show is an opinion based show. And we try to say, as we try to gear um or focus on encouraging men especially to be the best version of themselves, to be what the world needs in order for the world to be a better place. That's why we have the motto from talk to transformation. We try and we're not here to bash the ladies that was lying, you know. We here to put men on guard, and we here to partner with women to create this perfect balance that some systems would want us to believe is impossible. It's not impossible. It's not impossible. I don't believe that. And if I subscribe to that, then you get into the point where as raw dog everything.
Yeah,
Because it's
yeah,
all about pleasure then. Life becomes
yeah.
all about what pleases you in that
Nothing,
point in time without any
nothing.
thought, or consideration for how it affects you in the future or how it affects the children, the next generation, and
Yeah,
how much we poison the planet till there's no more planet to poison. It's just poison. And we when I look at boy, anyway, the show going on too long. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get some final words. We do ask that you subscribe to the Sup'm Show. Kay, we appreciate you coming in. I blame rap music. Program men to think that they should grind everything. Yes, we have to address movies because women are watching these movies that lead them to believe some dumb too, some real dumbness. And I think we're gonna make this a talk in the next show because I mentioned this a couple of times before. But men, we talk about pornography in one of our shows, but a lot of these shows that women gravitate towards is straight up porn,
yeah,
and they mask themselves with romantic
yeah,
storylines. You understand what I'm saying? And that is a form of desensitization that I feel as though our female, our sisters, are going through. They're not. It's not reality. The desperate women in the different shades of colors, black or whatever you call it. You know, these type shows doing something to y'all. But anyway, that's another show. We're over an hour time. Thank everybody for watching. Yeah, definitely subscribe so you get that notification as to when we're on again. Doc, final words.
I just want to encourage our young men to exercise penis control.
Yeah.
Respect yourself, and it's not feminine to say no to a sexual situation. It's not a question to your manhood to not sleep with somebody because you know it's not going to go somewhere. Don't feel pressured. Um, I know. Don't get lost in the heat of the moment. Be careful with your alcohol, of course. But if you practicing safe sex is not just putting a condom on. Practicing safe sex is screening as a person who you are with. Who you are with, is this somebody that's valuable to my life? And if it's a fling, I'm not saying don't have a fling. If you can have a fling, but realize that things like that come with risk. And especially in today's climate where women can now withdraw consent after you've already had your fling. So you need to be very careful. And the more prominent of a person you are, the further ahead you get in life, the more careful you got to be. So, um, penis control, gentlemen, we're going to preach it every week. Exercise better penis control.
I think it's good to point out that the way the law is structured, I want people to understand that nations get a lot of money into their treasury through dudes who don't think before they act, who don't practice this penis control. Even that law right there, bro, that law could be designed because men, and especially the certain type of men who don't have the complexion to get away with the foolishness like the former president could get away with, they trying to lock y'all up. And I don't want myself or anybody else to go to jail for something stupid. And it really, bro. I walk around if I don't give up juicing, I walking around with camera and recorder and a sign that says you are being recorded.
You need a contract.
Yeah, episode 79, ladies and gentlemen, the Sup'm Show. We're here every Sunday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Central Time. It's been a pleasure. We are out.